report of what is happening or an appropriate way of handling it. So we will only handle the Kitale municipality and the Kitale County Referral Level 4 Hospital for the financial years 2023-2024. So that bit of Soya Water Services Company Limited will be removed from the agenda. So that is the amendments that I'm seeking. Subject to approval, we can have a proposal and a second.
Chair, I propose with amendments.
Chair, I second.
Very well. So, honorable members, let's start with the introduction. We will do the introduction in this manner. We will start with the members of the committee, then the friend of the committee, and then we'll have the secretariat, our partners, and then eventually the governor. So let's start with the member of the committee on my far right.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, members, Governor Team, good morning. My name is Senator Chimera. I come from the great county of Kwale, member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Excellent Secretary of State. My name is Senator Hamida Kibana, member of this committee.
Morning, Governor, and my former county commissioner. My name is actually our regional commissioner. My name is Paris Tobiko from Kajiado County.
Good morning, everyone. George Bogwa, member of this committee.
I greeted you first, and my name is Agnes Kavindu Mogambo, the senator from Machakos County, and I'm member of this committee.
But we have Senator Chisam.
Good morning, everyone. Alan Chisam, Senator from the of this committee.
And myself, Godfrey Sotsi, Senator Vihiga, and the chairperson.
Yusuf Shumi Clark.
Eric Mantrack,
Audit to the committee.
Right, some with the research officer.
Joseph Ngeno, Media Relations Officer.
Victor Kimani, Hudson and Audit Services.
Jeremy Chabari, Legal Counsel.
Can you have our partners?
Yes, good morning, Chair, honorable members, and Your Excellency the Governor. My name is Mark Kashanja, Office of the Auditor General, Legislative Relations Office, and with me is the auditor responsible and based in Kakamega for the current reports. Please put yourself on record.
Good morning, Chair. I'm Banan Minor, auditor in charge of Kitale Region Office. Thank you.
Very well. Now, Governor, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Senators, members of the Secretariat, partners. My name is Natembeya, the Governor for Brazil. I'll come with my team here and have them introduce themselves.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and members. I'm Wanjaya Patel. I'm the CEC Finance and Economic Planning. Thanks for coming.
Good morning, honorable members. I'm Irene Angole, the acting municipal manager.
Committee.
Honorable members, my name is Kima Omar Ali. I'm the administrator and office of the government.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Jared Lisa, Communication Development.
Max Camus, Communication.
William Frank, Protocol.
Very well. Honorable members, Senator, Madam President.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, members, Your Excellency, the Governor and your team. I am Senator Beth Siengo from Kitui County and a member of this committee. And as Chair referred to me, the ODM Women League President. Thank you.
Okay, so honorable members, you realize that because of the size of the room, the officers from the hospital are waiting outside because we want to start with the municipality. Good sign. Usually meetings stop at that point if the documents are not in order. So, honorable members, we will proceed to item number 4, which is considering the audit report for the financial statements for those 2 entities. But I think before we begin, I realize that the governor came with a team from the water. I know we will have another date where we will deal with that matter. But since you have come with them, I would like us to get a brief from you on the status of the clustering of Zoya water. Where have you reached? And generally, what is the update on the same? And then you can also say something about the other entities that we are going to consider.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a small statement here that I think happens to that. Mr. Chairman, honorable members, the committee secretariat, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I come here bearing greetings from the great people of Natembeya and confirm that indeed the heavens have been gracious with the ongoing member. Our place as the breadbasket of Kenya remains secure. As we appear here today, we are grateful to be joint stakeholders with you in actualizing and perpetuating the Kenyan dream of revolution. We commend you, honorable members, honorable chairman, for the good job you are doing in this regard. I am pleased to inform this honorable committee that since our last appearance, Trans-Nzoia and Bungoma counties declustered from Wasco. Trans-Nzoia Water and Sewerage Company officially began operations on the 1st of July 2024 and is fully registered and licensed by WASREC. In the last 3 quarters, the company has made over 161 million Kenya shillings, making an increase of 30 million and fully entrenching its viability as a going concern. Honorable Chairman, as an administration, we are committed to fiscal and legal compliance for the benefit of our people. To this end, we've taken steps to ensure the autonomy of the entire municipality as required by the urban areas and cities. The municipal board is fully constituted and the municipality will be provided with an independent budget. However, the clamor for autonomy and operational independence by entities, such as municipalities, county public service boards, and number 4, private health facilities, for independent accountability. This agency should be held directly accountable for their performance and compliance at the forefront in the protection of devolution. Through your efforts, county governments have been able to push for their dues as stated in the Division of Revenue Act and the County Allocation Revenue Act. With your support, I'm confident that we will build systems that will perpetuate, particularly anchor devolution for our country. God bless you, and God bless Kenya. God bless you. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, what I just wanted to say, the report for Zoya Water, is still coming out. The auditor has produced the report for 2023-2024. I think the committee will sit down and agree how to handle this, given that there are two governors involved. We thought that by now the clustering would be complete so that we have separate reports, but they are still coming as one report. So I think we will agree and see how to deal with it, because auditor will only produce the two sets of reports when the clustering is complete. So that is why we have put it pending until the committee makes a decision on how to navigate around it. Yeah.
And Mr. Chairman, as far as I did not get any query on the last query for the 2024. I think the communication is done to our acting.
So maybe auditor, you can say something, because now here is Korea Water Services Company that is coming. What do you propose the committee handles this? Okay, you can look at it with the secretariat and advise the committee. So, honorable members, we will, as I said, start with the municipality, and then after that we do the response. So, for the municipality, I'm sure you have this white report with you. And you have the notes by the auditor. So we will start with the presentation by the auditor. The auditor, you need to give us a summary of your report and proceed to read out the queries as agreed in the pre-meeting. So proceed, auditor.
Thank you, Chair. This is the report of the Auditor General on the municipality of Kitale for the year ended 30th June 2024. It was a qualified opinion. The auditors raised 8 issues, out of which 3 were addressed during the review of the responses. 3 were not resolved, while 2 were partially resolved. So I will start with the issues that were not addressed. And the first issue is on long outstanding payables or pending bills. And I need
before you start on that, I would like you to say something as I read in the meeting about query number 1, unsupported inventories, query number 2, unsupported expenditure on repairs and maintenance, and also query number 4, long outstanding trade and other payables, which you indicated that they had been addressed, but members wanted to know when were they addressed and how.
Chair, the issue number 1 and number 2, these were unsupported inventories and unsupported expenditures on repair and maintenance. The auditor was provided with the evidence and documents that had not been produced during the audit process. And when the auditor reviewed the same, he was he formed an opinion that they were adequately addressed. Maybe through your.
So honorable members, for input, comments, question. On query number 1, 2, and 4, which have been addressed after the audit process.
Yeah, Chair, through you, is just to inquire from the governor why the documents followed the auditors after they left the ground, why the documents were not provided underground.
Any other issue, honorable members? Senator People?
Chair, and I remember this one was noted during the pre-meeting that no documents that come from auditors after the audit that have not been verified then puts us in a very awkward situation, because we believe even the auditors cannot stand with the report per se.
Any other? Please just want all the issues to come together so that you can respond to all of them. Senator Hugo.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe, Governor, the issues which are coming out from these reports are putting into question the qualifications and the seriousness of the people who are handling your issues, especially the accountants. Those there are some errors, some simple things which are maybe your accounts people can solve. And maybe it is making this committee wonder whether, like, the accountants who are handling these documents are properly qualified, whether they are in good standing, because they are making you come here and answer some issues which ordinarily should not arise.
Yeah, maybe let's start with, before we invite the governor. You have a second.
Yes, please. I have this issue of the retention.
No, this is a separate.
That's a separate.
We are not yet there. Okay. I think before we allow the governor to respond, or maybe we allow the governor first. The governor proceed.
Mr. Chairman, we appreciate those concerns, but also ask them to add that the audit for the municipality was just for 3 days, between 22nd and 25th of October. Now, we provide some documents during the audit period, but somehow they were not considered at that time, but on the record they were acknowledged. We gave them during that time. And then also we subsequently emailed other documents. So for the municipality, the issue was the duration of the audit. It was too brief. 3 days, I think, were not sufficient for the issues to be raised and for the audit documents to be provided. On the issue number 2, I think all the documents have been verified, and I think the audit will be able to confirm. I think they can only clear not where they are verified, the documents, but for them to confirm whether they are verified or not. And then, of course, also must admit that we have an issue of capacity in our officers. And then number 2, of course, the departments are grossly understaffed. As I mentioned in my statement, we have to balance between the need and the want to get. Now we're being told that we're operating against the law because we're going beyond that 5%. So how do we strike this balance? We need the services, we need to employ officers, manage the issue of the 35%. Yeah, so service delivery is suffering because we have to abide by this law. And that's why some counties actually have just gone ahead and employed staff and take away over 60%. Yeah, because service is very hard. And for us, I think also, we're going to bite the bullet. Because some of these basic accounting issues of ledger strike balances I'm coming to respond to here are basic accounting issues.
Yeah, So I think that's a response by the governor. Any further comments or question? Members, as you think through, let me allow the legal officer to read out the provisions in the Public Audit Act regarding late submission of documents or information. The accounting officers who are here, I think it's important for you to know that if you don't submit information to the auditor within the stipulated time frame, there are 3 things that can happen to you. 1 is a fine of 5 million, or imprisonment for 3 years, or both. So let the auditor read out, so that we need to manage this process, so that when information is required, is provided.
Through you, Chair, the relevant section is section 62 on the offences, and under section 62(1) of the Public Audit Act, that is paragraph B and C. A person shall not, without justification, fail to provide information required under this Act. C, without justification, fail to provide information within reasonable time that is required under this Act. And then the penalties under subsection 2, where it provides that a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years, or to both. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, that is what the law says. Mark?
Yeah, maybe Chair, maybe in addition to that is our process of audit is that before we even arrive at the client's office, we normally send what is called a letter of understanding. So we would appeal to the client to, once they receive the letter of understanding, start preparing the documents, and so that even by the time we enter the entry meeting, the documents are ready for review. That then address this issue. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Senator.
Chair, mine is follow-up on what Senator Mugu had asked on the accountant who signed the documents. Is he here?
No. Maybe we can find out from the auditors who signed the financial statement.
Yes.
Chair, they were signed by Thomas Tanui.
Are you the one?
Pack number 52741.
Just
Yes, Honorable Chair. Yes, Honorable Chair. I'm the one mentioned, Thomas Tan.
What is your ISPAC number?
Number 22741.
22741. Clerk, can you check the status? So as he checks the status, tell us why you signed financial statements and you are not able to respond to the auditor's request for documents. And by the way, your status is you are not in good standing.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Noted.
Can you say something about that?
Yes.
Before you proceed?
Yes, Chair. So the reason is I think reconciliation in the ISPAC records, because the only pending issue was the payment of subscriptions for the current year, for 2025, which have actually been done, and we can. In fact, I received today the payment details as confirmed by ISPAC.
Have you been attending training?
Yes, Honorable Chair. I had 48 CPD points.
Yes.
In 2024, so that was good enough to put me in good standing. In fact, I was in good standing up until 31st December, when now the subscriptions were due in January. But everything has been paid. It's only ISPAC that are yet to reconcile.
Okay, proceed to tell us about your next submission of documents for audit.
And Chair, I want just confirm that all trainings will be through the county government facilities. So there is no excuse.
Chair, is there any evidence to the payment in the accountant's trace back. Like a receipt or something.
Yes, I have them in soft. I don't know if you can admit that, Chair.
You can send them to the clerk.
Yes, Chair, we can.
Yeah, now sir, proceed to the substantive matter of late submission of documents. Considering that there are three things that can happen to you. The arrest for 3 years, the fine of 5 million, or both. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So, I would like to say the auditors were with us for 3 days, starting from the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of October 2024. And being the only staff related with knowledge in finance, I was pressed for time to be able to respond to everything and provide every document at that very moment the auditors required. But that being said, I still was able to provide most of the documentation the auditors required at the preliminary stage, because the audit has those 3 stages: preliminary, management letter stage, and the draft report stage. So in all the 3 stages, I was able to provide the required documentation before the draft report stage, before the end of the draft report stage. But I don't know why the auditors did not admit some of the documents we provided at the preliminary stage, and we have the evidence that they signed for. They received the documents that they required, but now some documents were requested at the draft report stage, which we still provided. Some on email, and I even delivered them myself to the North Rift office in Kakamega.
Auditor, you have heard what he said, that he delivered the documents to you, but he's wondering why they were not considered.
Okay, Chair. When documents are submitted to the auditor, he reviews the documents. And if the documents are not complete, then the issue still remains. So he may have delivered the documents, but these documents may be lacking some important supporting, and therefore they will not be accepted.
Did you include that in your exit meeting, the report?
During the exit meetings, all these issues are highlighted to the client, and is given time to respond to them. So it must have been one of the agendas during the meeting.
Actually, Chair, I just wanted to seek clarification from the accountant who attended the exit meeting. Did you?
Yes, sir. Honorable Chair.
Then the auditor is explaining that the concerns were raised. If we attended the exit meeting, Chair, should we not have picked that?
So why didn't you provide the documents at the exit meeting?
Honorable Chair, at the exit meeting is when the auditors give their report of the preliminary, that's at the preliminary stage when they were with us physically. So at that first stage, the exit meeting, they did, it was just to give a report of what they noted, and if there's anything they did not receive, they communicated the same. And in subsequent stages, we were able to supply the required documentation. The issue we had was the physical presence of the auditors was only for 3 days, only in the preliminary stage. And unlike in the other auditors auditing the other departments in the executive, they were there for the full time until they produced the draft report. So in our case, they were only there for 3 days. And considering I was the only staff, the governor has alluded that we are a little understaffed. I was the only one who could provide that information. And the auditors wanted my presence at all times. So I think most of the time was consumed in trying to explain what was presented in the financial statements. So it took up my time from physically presenting the documentation.
Sure.
And then the other issue was most of the vouchers, the documents in question are actually vouchers. Most of the vouchers were in the process of payment because they were pending bills. So in the process of responding to audit, it took a while to be able to provide the vouchers that were in the payment process because they are required to do payment confirmation and actually do the payment. So we do not want to disenfranchise our suppliers because that payment was being done at that time. But subsequently we provided everything and we can attest to that.
Chair, I feel the accountant is just running away from the question by telling us a long story. The question was, why didn't you provide the documents? And I'm sure the auditors alert you on what they are coming to do, and you were aware that they were coming to audit. So why were the documents not in place?
Yes, Honorable Chair, we were notified on what was required on the very day they arrived. That is the 22nd. We did not receive the request of list of documents that they required before they came. That was on the 22nd when they were with us physically.
Auditor, is that correct?
Chair, during the audit process starts with the engagement letter, which is usually sent 1 week or at least 2 days before the entry meeting with the client. So unless he has evidence on the actual date that the letter of understanding was signed, we can't accept his explanation.
So I think, honorable members, this is something that we have seen in these counties where documents come up at the level of Senate when they should have come up much higher. And I think, Governor, the way forward is that your finance team needs to approach this audit process differently. The CEC, who is the head of Treasury, he needs to be in charge of this audit process from the word go. Mobilize his team and supervise the process so that you don't end up with queries which should ordinarily be queries. And then now when people appear before the Senate, that is now when it looks like we are reopening the audit because the documents now are brought before us. We are not auditors. So I think way forward is to ensure that this audit process is run like a project, a serious exercise led by the CEC for Finance, so that we don't end up having this. Because the gentleman, the way he's explaining, is that he was on his own. Yeah? He was on his own, he was too busy. Within 3 days, he's supposed to pick all the documents, and their auditors are there. So it becomes a problem. So I think the way forward is for this thing to be managed differently, because I think in the next review meeting, I think we will invoke the provisions of Section 62 of the Public Audit Act. And the person who will be affected will be one, the accountant, Chief Officer Finance, and the CEC Finance. we will just invoke that provision. Governor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for that direction. Now, to avoid this back and forth, because where I'm sitting, my officers know the instruction given them. You must have documents. You don't go searching for documents when they're asked for, because where are those documents? They're well instructed that. They have assured me that that's what I've done. Now, to avoid this blame, is there a way of tracking these documents? Whenever they ask where the auditors are delivered, how do you confirm that the delivered and they were received and they are in good time? Because in the absence of that, then it will be I gave it in good time, you didn't give it in good time.
Yes, I think as I said, we will invoke the provision of section 62 because we expect actually section, I don't know, is it 197 of the PFM requires the CEC for finance to continuously monitor the financial performance and the reporting of all the entities within the county and the report to the county executive, 197. So the CEC for finance, I think the buck stops at you as the head of treasury. All these things should not be happening. Senator Kisan?
Chair, thank you. I wanted to give myself on record. William Kisan, Senator from Natembeya County and a member. And Chair, there is a question the governor has asked. I thought that was a very straightforward question. When the auditors are within the county, when they are requesting for documents, they can do a letter saying we need all those documents. And then now your people can respond and say the documents you requested are the following. And that is an evidence. So I think that will solve that issue.
Mark?
Yeah, so maybe just to add on to what the Senator Kisan has indicated, is that in the letter of understanding, as the name suggests, it is a document where we agree with the client. These are the documents we need, and these are the timelines. We are here for this period of time, so please bear these documents, and we agree, and it's a discussion. So the timelines are agreed, and the documents already are known. So I think it's important to note that, Chair, so that going forward we adhere to what we have agreed in terms of timelines. Thank you, Chair.
And maybe again, auditors, you have your checklist of the things that you need from the client. So what you need to do on that checklist, you ensure that whatever is given, you sign against it, and the client signs against it, so that we don't have this back and forth. So that now you stop us from affecting section 62 of the public auditor. I think that way, in fact, when we ask this question, the auditor should be giving us a checklist and say, here is my checklist. They didn't sign, they didn't provide this. You can see. And then members will know who is the culprit here. Yes.
Yes, indeed, Chair, that's correct. There is indeed a checklist. We call it the evidence tracking sheet. It shows the date requested, from who, and when it was even returned. For some documents, for example, cash books are requested and returned, so it shows when it was requested and when it was returned. So that evidence is there, Chair.
Okay. So, honorable members, I think we can proceed. The auditor, you had said you want to go to retention monies, but I think before we do that, because of the common problem we have in municipalities, that is independence, I would like us to look at issue number 5, the regular engagement of municipal manager.
Thank you, Chair. Irregular engagement of municipal manager. As previously reported, management of the municipality is under a municipal manager who was appointed by the County Public Service Board through the letter number that of 15 October 2018. The manager was given a compulsory leave in July 2023. At the time of audit in October 2024, the manager had not resumed to the office, and in his place was an acting manager who was appointed by the county secretary of Trans Nzoia on 11th July 2023 on acting capacity to carry out duties of the manager for the duration of the manager was to go on leave. And this was contrary to section C14, subsection 1 of the Public Service Human Resource Procedure Manual 2016, which states that acting allowance will not be payable to an officer for more than 6 months. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the Human Resource Manual. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
The manager actually proceeded on turning leave because his contract was coming to an end. But we couldn't stand the fellow. He was a perpetual drunkard. Completely.
You can read the response and then you will explain.
Okay. So the contract term for the former municipal manager was 5 years, which was unrenewable and was coming to an end by September 2023. There is an approval from the County Public Service Board to pay special duty allowance to the acting municipal manager. The recruitment process of a substantive manager for the municipality commenced through an advertisement, which is annexed as annexed number 5A. Which is on page 76.
Auditor, what is your comments on the management response?
Chair, the municipality is in the process of recruiting a manager for the municipality, and have provided the evidence. Thank you.
What about the issue of acting allowance?
Mr. Chairman, the acting manager has not been paid a single cent in terms of acting allowance, but we received an approval from the County Public Service Board for the payment of special duty allowance.
You were explaining something about the former manager.
Yeah, the manager was an abscondee who was battling with alcoholism, and was basically having no value. That's why we gave him the terminal leave, because his contract was coming to an end. And he just exited and he went like that. That's why we're in the process of recruiting a new manager. And I'm hoping that this time around we're going to get a good manager, because sometimes when the board employs people, it does not even consider merit and the kind of responsibilities they're supposed to undertake. They introduce other material things, and then I become here every year to answer audit queries. You don't have a very committed person handling matters. So I'm with the process of handling a new manager.
So, honorable members, your comments? Comments, questions on this matter? Okay, members, as you see, there is no query on autonomy of municipality, but municipality. municipality has autonomy as provided for in the Urban Areas and the Cities Act. Considering that the next query after this one, that is query number 6, is the lack of a strategic plan. I believe this must be integrated development plan for the municipality. What you have done to ensure that there is compliance with the provisions of Urban Areas and Cities Act, particularly on the issue of managerial, financial, and operational independence of the municipality. Maybe you can tell us more about that, what you have done in that area to ensure that the municipality is fully compliant to the Act.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the Kitale municipality, we have a fully constituted board with the chair, who is here with us. As previously said, we have an acting manager, but in the process of recruiting one. Number 3, we have designated all the functions supposed to be handled by the municipal board. And then, of course, I've got full-time employees of the board. And lastly, the board has a budget, one budget. Although currently domiciled the Department of Lands, the Land Department. But as I said in my opening remarks, on the next financial year, they're going to have their own board. And even currently the board, the budget for the board is not interfered with by the member of the chief also for lands. The budget is run by the board. So we've done those five things. I believe we're on the way, ensuring that the municipal board is fully autonomous in terms of operations. Of course, there's an issue of revenue collection that causes a bit of jitters. Are they going to collect revenue at source? And if they do that, then it means that many of the counties, including Brazil, have no own society because entirely almost all the payers of revenue are in that town. So if the hospital is gone to FIF and then the municipality goes, it means then we should rely entirely on the exchequer.
Okay, honorable members.
Chair, I've heard the governor, but because of revenue collection, does it mean that the municipalities will not have autonomy? And is there an autonomy without revenue collection? Do they even have an account, of their own?
The municipality has an account of its own. I'm just saying that most of the funds of revenue for the account comes from within the municipality. When we give them that function, of course, we need to have some kind of agreement or arrangement that you collect this much, but retain only this much is sufficient for your function. You will have no problem with that.
Chair, I need our legal to read what does the law say about the municipalities and the autonomy.
We allow that after members have exhausted their issues.
Chair, maybe I need to ask the governor, now that the Council of Governors, or the governors know that most of the those revenues are from these cities or municipalities or big towns, then what are they doing? What plans do you have then to maybe talk to come up with a proposal to amend the Cities and Urban Act so that on collection of revenues within these areas could be shared then between the municipalities and cities and the county government? Because we cannot also live, the law is very clear. The law is saying this, but the governors are not willing to see especially the revenue collection function. So it is good to come up with a proposal that will satisfy the law so that you can have a share of the revenue between the two entities, between the county government, the executive, and also the municipality.
Thank you, Chair. The governor is talking in futuristic terms. I would request him to give specific timelines when he thinks that the autonomy will be completed.
So, Governor, can Senator Chisam? Because I saw you. Okay.
But
yes, Senator, okay.
At the same time that we are concerned about the autonomy of the municipalities, but I think the governor is also raising very pertinent issues about on-source revenue, and this applies across the board of all counties. I think it is the duty of this House to make that distinction clear. What will go to the municipalities, and how will governors deal with the on-source revenue. I think this is for us to tackle. We must tackle.
So, any other issue for Senator?
Sure. Senator Sam has largely said what I wanted to say, but Chair, we are sitting here to consider an audit report, and there's a true record before us, Chair, and we cannot afford to be futuristic with the responses that we are giving to this committee. Governor, when you are told to, not in bad way, but when you're told to make sure your boards are independent, functional, there is a whole regime and framework around it that gives you that authority to delegate that power and making sure the board runs on its own, both functionally, both operationally, and both in terms of financial independence. We know when it comes to treating the revenue issue, I will understand you, even me when I become governor, I'm a bit concerned on the revenue that the Diani municipal is raising, and I have no control over its expenditure. But the law is the law as it is now, and the law says give this wonderful lady the powers and the control that she needs to have to first of all raise revenue and spend that revenue on the projects. So when you want to say you, in your own wisdom, think there should be a ratio or a pro rata basis on how you retain what percentage, that is not in the law for now, unless you come up with the mechanisms towards amending that particular act so that we can accommodate you. But as you sit there, Governor, we want you to tell us how this revenue is being treated within the preamble of the law as it is governed. So for now, let's not speak futuristic. I mean, there's no proposal before us. There is no COG resolution to amend the law, so you have to work within what the law says, Governor. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, Governor, you can respond, but I think before you can do that, let's have the legal officer reading out the relevant information.
Through you, Chair. With your permission, the issue of management that is of urban areas, among the principles that is under Section 11 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, is Section 11. Among the principles is that the governance of and management of urban areas and cities is based among the following principles. Among them is the recognition of the principal and agency relationship between the boards of urban areas and cities and their respective county governments. And then the structures, that is under Section 12, where the management of city or a municipality is vested in a county government and administered on its behalf by a board constituted in accordance with Section 13 and 14 for either a city or municipality, a manager appointed pursuant to Section 28, and such other staff and local officers as county public service may determine. And then under subsection 2 of that same Section 12 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, the board of an urban area granted the status of a city or municipality under the Act is a body corporate with a perpetual subsection and a common seal, and shall its corporate name be capable of suing, being sued, taking, purchasing, or otherwise acquiring, holding, charging, or disposing of movable property, borrowing money or making investments, entering into contracts, and doing or performing all other acts or things for the proper performance of its functions. And then, through Chair, with your permission, there is section 21 of the powers and powers of boards of cities and the municipalities, where the relevant section is subsection 1, where it reads as subject to the Constitution and any other written law, the board of a city or municipality shall within its area of jurisdiction, and we go to paragraph C, impose such fees, levies, and charges as may be authorized by the county government for delivery of services by the municipality or the city. So still the county executive has control on the services and the kind of fees and levies that can be charged by a municipality to ensure that it can be able to deliver its services. Thank you, Chair.
Does it say may?
It's shall.
Yeah, you see, I think the point that Senator Chisamu you are raising is very valid. I think this law needs to be looked at. Because on one hand it talks about autonomy, on the other hand it says the municipality will be under the executive. So it's confusion. And I think this, as a committee, I think we need to engage the Council of Governors to see what kind of amendments we can make to this law. Because most counties are not complying to that law. One, because of that confusion. Two, because the county executives, the governors are feeling that they will be ceding their powers to someone else to collect revenue for them. And then also there must be mechanism of revenue share. What is the municipality going to retain, and what is the county going to, what is going to be taken back to the county executive. So I think it's an engagement we need with the COG on that, so that these gaps are removed.
Chair, I had an interesting discussion on the weekend, and there was someone who was saying the whole urban cities and Urban Areas and Cities Act has literally come to fight devolution. You know, we devolved power from the central unitary government to governors. Then now we are creating a small government in the name of a municipal government. So then again, Chair, holistically, when you look at it, Chair, there has to be a conversation around how best we structure that particular arrangement between the municipal boards and because governors feel now again, I'm governor for Kwale, for instance, but I have to still go and quote out to the municipal manager to get my services running again. So what's the point of having devolution and you're going to get small boards within the same set of chairs? So I agree with you. That must be a conversation we might need to have with COG and other stakeholders towards harmonizing those gaps in your chair. Thank you.
Chair, that's very true, because the governor is the CEO of the county, so he's in charge of everything. So as he devolves the autonomy, he should have some powers on the municipalities. So we have to do something about the law.
But again, I think they wanted to ensure that what municipalities collect is retained there to give people services. But we can look for a balance. We can look for a balance so that it is not taken wholly to the county executive and used elsewhere. Then the people in that city or municipality are not getting services. So I think there must be a balance. That's why we need to engage COG on this matter. Any other comments before I allow the governor to proceed, Governor?
Mr. Chairman, all those observations are valid, and when you become governor, you're going to appreciate it more.
two fellows here who want to become governor. You are truly Senator to pick.
Because we have.
Maybe you need to help yourself when you're in this community before you arrive
Because we have colleagues. We have colleagues in the Council of Governors who are senators. And when we get some of these things, they say that they were the ones who are pushing for some of this legislation as come now to bite them. Because it's good to talk about autonomy all the time. But when you creating serious autonomy and you want the municipal board to be independent, with its own budget, its own staff, its own mind. But somehow you are saying that they are under the control of the county government. How? Because you call the chairman and refuse. You tell you focus on the rural areas. I'm running the county. I'm running the town. What do you tell him? It is the same thing happening with the county public service boards. They employ people. Get people from all over the place, but you can't ask them to go they're independent. So they get you do an intern, they employ people from all over the place. You can't question because they're independent. So this independence thing, this should be managed very well. Now, if the budget of the municipal board, like for mine here, we give them about 20 million for development. Yeah? 46 million for recurrent and 20 million for development. That's about 100 million. That's the budget. They cannot then collect 500 million and plan how this 500 million. Do they need 500 million? Where is the county going now to get the 400 million shortfall? And the manager and the chairman will tell you is our entity. No, there's no provision for us sharing this. So as senators do some of these things, tomorrow you're going to become governors, I can assure you, none of them are going to be governors. It is going to be a soft landing or whatever, but then you will be led up there, and you're going to grapple with these things I'm talking about. So I'm not talking futuristic, as it was noted. Creating this autonomy is work in progress. I've said we've got an independent board already in place. We have got staff already in place. We've got a budget, which they manage independently, but under the Department of Lands. I've said the next financial year we're working on now. They're going to be fully in charge of that, of the budget. We have segregated functions and given them specific functions to do, including that solid waste management, that are doing that fully. Of course, now that part of revenue connection is what is still pending as far as I'm concerned. Because they're not collecting revenue now. The revenue is being collected by the receiver of revenue, the director of revenue, for the entire government of Transvaal.
So, members, I think now let's proceed to the query. Irregular spending of retention money. Auditor?
Chair, irregular spending of retention monies. The statement of financial position reflects trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 78,995,898, which includes retention amount of Kenya shillings 60,801,767 as disclosed in note 18 to the financial statements. However, review of bank statements and cash equivalence schedules revealed that the retention account held at a local bank had only Kenya shillings 1,881,277, giving rise to a variance of Kenya shillings 58,920,490, which has not been explained or reconciled. In the circumstances, the municipality may attract punitive penalties for failing to settle the amounts as and when they fall due. Thank you, sir.
Governor, your written response.
Management response. Since the commencement of the project in 2019, this is the extended business center. There was no retention funds account until March 2024, when account number 03302852 490 was taken in the bank. Therefore, all cash relating to retention funds remained in the operations account as constrained balances. Subsequently, the retention funds will be considered in the next point.
Auditor, your comments on the response.
From the response, Chair, the issue of supporting the retention monies when they fall due has not been explained. Where will we get the retention monies when they fall?
I didn't get your last.
Chair, we were wondering where the county will get or the municipality will get the retention monies when they fall due, because the balance as at that in June 2024 was only 1.9 million. Yet the retention monies balance was 60 million.
Back to the governor.
Mr. Chairman, as I have said, we are going to have budgetary provision for that amount of money. We are alive the fact that retention money was deducted before payments was made. But there wasn't an account to which the money was deposited. The money remained in the operations account. At the end of the financial year, that money is looked at as a spent balance, and therefore budgeted in the subsequent year, of course for other uses. But we remain alive with the fact that we owe the contractor that much amount of money, that when the contract is done, we will be issued to the next financial year, we should be able to have money in the budget.
This is in relation to the business center.
Yes.
The one we visited.
Yes.
Honorable members, your comments.
Chair, we want firm commitment from the government. Is he promising us that the 60 million that is supposed to be in the retention account now, at least there is progress there, I'm already opening an account, that's 1.8 million. Then are you promising in the next audit cycle that basically we'll have maybe by October, you'll have also done your budget and you will task the auditor to verify and check that in your budget for 2025-26, there will be a figure there that will be transferred maybe at the right time to the retention account, so that you know this is your own benefit. I know your predecessor, the fellow you took over from, did not open the account, at least you are open yourself. Are you committing that 58 will be budgeted?
So Chairman, if you look at page 84 of our supporting documents, the schedule of retention funds, we have a record of how these funds are being deducted from the payments. And therefore just a matter of making the budget provision for it. Because this money was spent for government programs, because it was just an operational account, it was budgeted as such. And we are alive with the fact that we owe this to the contractor. And of course we pay him 12 months after he completes the work. So putting the money in the retention account actually replaces. It will not be available for any other use.
Any further question?
So, Chair, I think now that this money has been spent, do we have any evidence how the money was spent that can provide?
You know, when at the end of the financial year, you have money aided operations account, the CRF, you look at it as a saving. So you budget for it as a block. because that money is not segregated. That's the area, not for segregation. Just money. Imechanganywa na pesa zingine, so you just budget for it like that. That's what I'm saying for this one. We know the amount of money we set aside because it was spent alongside other balances that were in those accounts.
So I think I go back to Senator Kisam issue when he said, what is your commitment? Because, you know, this query, this is not the first time we are interacting with it. We interacted with it last time you appeared on the municipality, and I think it was in the audit report for, was it 2021, 2022? Now it's still appearing. So for us to be able to resolve this query, we need a commitment that this money will be paid to the retention account.
I want to give that commitment and also assure the members that going back to the query is futuristic. It doesn't happen, but there's fear that when this debt falls due, we may not be able to pay. But I'm assuring you that when it falls due, we should be able to pay it. And we only pay it by making budgetary provisions for it.
Okay, I think that should appear in our interim recommendation.
Why don't you provide time?
So how much time?
I'm looking at, because we need to get about 135 million shillings to complete the business center. The national executive made a promise of 100 billion, but we've not been able to secure those funds. So we must get those funds to enable the contractor to complete the project, even if we talk about paying his retention after 12 months. I want the Senate also understand our situation in that to put like 60 million to lie idle in an account, at the end we need this money to complete this project before the contractor claims the same money. I think we can do it like in 2 financial years. We put 30 this coming financial year, and then 30 the next one, because I'm not seeing this year completing this project in the next one year. But by the time, the only commitment and what we go on record, that by the time the defects liability period ends, we shall have money to pay your attention.
So members, you have had that commitment. Any new questions, comments before we move on? Okay, so honorable members, that brings us to the end of consideration of the audit report for municipality. And now we will proceed to the hospital, Kitale County Referral Level 4 Hospital. So the team from municipality, thank you very much. You can now see space for the hospital. And weaknesses in revenue collection system. Those would be the main points, but of course there are others which are guide those. Auditor, present your report.
Thank you, Chair. This is the report of the General on Kitale County Referral Level 4 Hospital for the year ended 30 June 2024. The opinion of the auditor was a disclaimer of opinion, and there are various issues to do with the accuracy of the financial statements and supported transactions, which led to this disclaimer of opinion. There are issues to do with lawfulness and effectiveness in in the use of public resources, and there are also other issues to do with the effectiveness of internal controls and governance. Issue number 3.
Just a moment. So, honorable members, Kisam?
Chair, maybe before we go to the substantive queries, which I agree with Kalam, my worry is 2021-22, 2022-23. The auditor is saying we do not get any documents. So where do we get the auditing balances from 2024-25? I mean 23-24. How did you audit 23-24 then? Because documents were not submitted. What was the reason for not submission of documents?
Yeah, that was the main reason why we did explain our opinion. Because we didn't have the opening balances from the 2022-2023.
Was it then running under the executive? The hospital was not independent, or what was it? If they were audited under the executive, or what was the reason?
Yeah, previously they were being audited under the audit of the county executive. But from 2021-2022 financial year, all the level 4 level 5s were supposed to prepare and submit financial statements independently for audit. So for the case of the Kitale County Referral Hospital, they submitted their first financial statements in 2024.
That also was the right name. Is it Janamal or Kitale? Let me
So, Omaro Kijana is a separate hospital.
Yes, the services were moved from KCA to Omaro Kijana.
So honorable members, I think maybe before we go to the queries that we picked, I think there is a concern here. The auditor has raised the issue of non-submission of financial statements for 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023. The statements were not submitted, and that means there was no audited report for those 2 financial years. And that raises a concern how now the current statements, how did they get the opening balances? So that is another one issue. The other issue is that we have noted that there were a number of bookkeeping issues. One serious bookkeeping issue is the lack of a general ledger and the trial balance. Another very serious bookkeeping issue is the inaccuracies in cash and cash equivalent balance. Another issue is poorly maintained cash flow. Another issue is undisclosed inventory. Another very important issue, which is issue number 14, non-compliance with the approved financial reporting templates. So, honorable members, I think we need to start from there. We need to start from there to really understand from the county and the accountants what was going on in this case. I can see, Mark, you are raising your hand. Maybe we can start with you.
Maybe, Chair, for context is that a disclaimer of opinion means that the auditor could not make an opinion. But when you look at the cash and cash equivalent, you got a properly prepared cash book, you could not form an opinion. That's what basically it means. The disclaimer means we could not establish the accuracy of the figures stated in the financial statements. Thank you.
Maybe Chair, before we proceed, we need to know the name of the person who signed these financial statements. And also to know whether he's present with us here today.
Auditor, can you give us the name of the accountant who signed the statements?
Chair, from the financial statements, the accountant or head of finance who signed the financial statements is Edwin Kiboy.
Edwin?
Edwin Kiboy.
Edwin, are you here? What is the ISPAC number? 11472. Use the mic, please. Can you check?
Maybe Chair, even as the craft check, maybe can you confirm to us whether you are the one who prepared the statements or you just signed?
I'm the one who prepared.
Chair, the status is not in good standing. Kiboy. Why are you not in good standing?
Thank you, Chair. I have not attended the required number of CDD. I attended last year the conferences, but I did not meet the threshold. But this year, I will.
You see, the governor has just told us that he avails resources for you to attend these trainings. Why haven't you, what is the good reason that you have not been attending these trainings?
Thank you, Chair. Last year, I attended one conference in Mombasa. So this year, I hope I will attend other 2 more so that I can be in good standing.
Chair, I want to just before you come in, can you tell us, have you, in your trainings, have you been trained on the accounting standards template? In this case, the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board template. Have you been trained on that?
Yes, sir.
How come you didn't apply that in your statements?
Okay, thank you, Chair. When I was preparing the financial statement for the financial year 22-23, we had a bank account that was new. So I had an opening balance of 0.
No. I'm asking you. Don't tell me about the bank. You know, a template is to do with the presentation of financial statement, preparation of the financial statement. Why did you comply to the established accounting template? And that should be a very basic thing for even a junior accountant. Why? Can you answer my question? There are members who have questions here they want to ask you.
Okay, Chair. I did not, especially the first part of it. I encountered some difficulty in getting some board members the information at that particular time.
Okay, I want the members to ask you questions through your governor. This that will be Senator Jimena.
Now that the accountant chair is saying he was not compliant with his CPD for last year. Are you admitting to the fact that you will be out of practice this whole year? Because you need to be compliant in the previous year so that you can be in good standing for this year, isn't it? So now that you missed your CPD points for last year, are you telling this committee that the whole of this year you cannot be in good standing with your regulatory body?
I will be.
How? And you failed to do your CPD trainings for last year. When you are training for this year, my understanding is you are complying for next year. Because some of us, we belong in these associations and we also go for CPD trainings. So for me to be able to practice law this year, I should be compliant with my CPD trainings as of 31st December 2024. So that this year, I'm eligible to take out a practice certificate to practice. Is that the same case with accounting?
Yes.
So then you're telling us in short and in the long and short of it is that you can't practice this year, isn't it?
I will.
No. Let me take it slowly like I have a 2-year-old son. Let me assume I'm talking to his called Kwame. You attended CPD training last year, isn't it?
Yes.
But you need to attend a certain number of trainings so that you qualify to be compliant for the next year to practice. True or false?
True.
And you didn't attend that number of training?
Yes.
So then how would you be compliant for this year? Are you telling us the whole of this year you should be out of work? You can't sign statements, you can't do anything this year? Yes or no? Thank you, Chair.
Any other member?
But Chair, maybe perhaps I also, before I forget, sorry, Ramira, I have listened to the auditor and his comment is that, I think it was Mark was trying to tell us that from the reports, the auditor was not able to form an opinion over the financial statements of this entity. Now I'm wondering, Chair, if we to sit here as a committee while the auditor who needs to guide us on all these many issues and queries cannot in his own wisdom and words form an opinion on that report, Chair. How then do we proceed as a committee? And perhaps maybe the governor needs to weigh in because it appears it is a very advanced report. Probably the governor would need more time to go and put his house in order so that we come with a good report that we can discuss. If the auditor cannot authoritatively comment on the statements, I don't understand why we should continue looking at those audit reports.
When we were meeting in our pre-meeting, we were identifying the issues. One, the issue of inaccuracies, errors, and commissions by the finance team, which we are now addressing. Then there was 2, the issue of a disclaimer opinion. Then 3, we isolated a few queries, which we thought that even though the report is a disclaimer opinion, I think it's important for us to weigh in on those 3 queries, the ones I've mentioned. So I think what we are doing now is first of all to deal with the issue of disclaimer and the issue of bookkeeping issues. Yeah, and then we will discuss those issues which we thought they have high fiduciary risk, which we need to look at. Senator Hamida?
Chair, I'm just wondering how long he has been with the county. He could be a new guy, but then if not, then I'm just wondering, Governor, how can you encourage this? But then I also concur with Senator Chimela that this one requires a special law. But then I just want to know how long he has been in the county.
Senator Bobo?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think I can't remember which county had appeared here, and we resolved that we should be having the representative of this park here. Because clearly, if you look at the issues which we are interrogating the county, and the CEO is here, clearly there are issues to be do with accounting. I think this part should come up with a policy on what is supposed to happen, because clearly, Governor, the person who is handling the account is not qualified. And we are going to have queries every year, because you can see even the way he's not qualified. I don't know what your comments are on that.
Qualified is qualified. But if you talk about competence, he's not competent because even the way he's answered questions.
Mr. Chairman, maybe the supervisor of this accountant will the chief officer can say something.
Chief officer?
Thank you, Chair, for affording me this opportunity, perhaps to lay a background on why we are here with this 2023-2024 financial year statements. First, Chair, as you are all aware, that for the period 21-22, 22-23, we were not able to submit financial statements. Why? Because when we took over government, we had various challenges, particularly in terms of accessing the records in the health sector. And we took it upon ourselves when the auditors requested for 2023-2024 financial year statements. We moved in very fast and ensured that we come up with 2023-2024 financial statements. An issue of us not having 2021-2020 financial statements, we failed as accountants and as a county that should not prohibit us from availing financial statements and records for 23-24 because we must start from somewhere, Your Honorable Chair. And when our auditors, when the auditors came on the ground to do the audit, we were not able to submit the required financial statements, previous financial statements, but we agreed that going forward, because we must start from somewhere, these balances will be restated in 2024-2025 financial year, so that we can be able to go forward as a compliant county. Otherwise, if we retain the status quo, then it means that we will not even be here because we will not be having any financial statements in place. My humble plea, Honorable Chair, is that as you have guided that we allow and proceed with matters that may affect our running, because we will also draw lessons from that, and going forward we'll go and ensure that we implement the recommendations of this committee. We can request that as we go back, we will be able to finalize on the 2021-2022 financial statements, 22-23, so that we avail them before the auditors with a view to ensure that we get balances that then we can restate in the financial year 2024-2025 for us to be able to go forward on a clean slate. That one can be confirmed by auditors, particularly on the issue of restatement of balances that can be adjusted in subsequent financial year. Thank you very much, Your Honorable Chair.
Can you tell us about the opening balances? Where do you get the opening balances?
Particularly due to our accounting procedures, sometimes you are allowed to use incomplete records to form a basis on how you can proceed with the accounting issues that underlie in financial statements. And actually what we used were incomplete records, of which if we go back, Chair, we can be able to get a full basis and ensure that we go forward as a compliant county. Another issue of our accountant who has been found not to be in good standing. Actually, the Accountants Act allow that you can be able to get cumulative CPD hours for the 3 financial years for you to be in good standing. So if we can be able, the way we have laid a ground as a county to ensure that our accountants are well capacity built, we will facilitate and ensure that he accumulates enough CPD points this year to be compliant. Thank you very much, Chair. We are doing it as an issue to address capacity issues, and I think the committee should be actually bear with us when it comes to such a kind of issue, because His Excellency has been very clear. When you look at our budgets, we have training budgets for each and every department, and that's why he's also wondering why they are not compliant or they are not in good standing.
Chair, the CEO is saying that they be given time to go back and you come back with full reports, but we are 2.5 years down the line, and he's not been able to do anything. So, how much more time does he need for the last 2.5 years? He's not been able to comply.
what I said, we took action as an administration to ensure we corrected the situation. And what we did, we relied on incomplete records to ensure we construct financial statements for the financial year 2023-2024. Going forward, what I was requesting is a window to allow us confirm balances in 2021, 2022, 22, 23, so that then we can restate those balances in the current financial year, and going forward, we'll be able to move forward as a compliant county, and this committee will have done us good so that we can be able to rectify the situation.
So how much time, Chair? Can you say how much time you need to do that?
We can be able to settle that before the next audit cycle. That's 1 month.
Chair. Let's now Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I've heard the Chief Officer clearly, and he says he needs 1 month to get his records right. So I'm also just wondering, as my colleague has just asked, that if he has taken 2.5 years, close to 3 years, and he's not come up with any records that he can appreciate that this was the correct opening balances and stuff, how will he manage to get these records within a month? Yeah. I'd like him to make us understand.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. For matter of record, I'm 1 year old in the office. So I've not had the 1.5 years that my Honorable Senator is referring to. It's this administration that took that first action of ensuring that we comply by ensuring that we are audited as an entity. All we are saying is that we are taking responsibility, including responsibility of the previous regime that failed to prepare and we did not want to come here to lament or to pass the buck. That's why we took a decision to ensure that we fix the issue in 2023-2024 financial year. Thank you.
If I may add, not to prepare some of the financial statements we need primary documents. Now, when we took over government, one of the biggest challenges we faced was documentation. I don't want my chief officer to give a commitment. We don't appreciate whether you're going to get documents or not. Some of the documents that have been provided here were discovered as a happen chance. We were walking around and we found a document on the floor, you read it, and we discovered it's a relevant document. You know there's a box of documents somewhere where we can cover, and therefore develop this plan. And in the corridors also here, some documents were actually destroyed. They were banned. How do you get this document? But we are saying because we are being audited for the first time, we try to come up with something to form a basis for subsequent audits. And although the auditors were able to be given documents at the time of audit, through this process of kupekua here and there, we've been able to provide some basic information on these issues that we have looked at. And though they may be 100% satisfied, I'm sure they can form a basis for us now to start auditing these entities. Because then if we still don't have the balances for 2022, form a basis for 2022, 23, for 23, 24, then we will not have any audits going forward. At some point, maybe we may have to decide to bite the bullet and see what to do, so that subsequently we have audits. Otherwise, in my thinking, somebody can go out there and manufacture these things. Just manufacture these things, and I don't think it's a good way. It's good also to be honest at some point. We do not have this information. We do not get this information as we have audits. And that's why we're struggling. Otherwise, just get the balance 2022, we develop the others very, very quickly, because the closing balances are very key. So when you're going to get the closing balances for 2021, 2022, we don't have the records. And then we're going to be creative out there.
eventually we also assist the county in the next audit cycle. So I was saying, to make progress, maybe we need to look at those ones. But now, what the governor has said, some documents are not there, unless maybe we can give them time as we discuss this. The governor said there might be no documents, documents could have been done. We could live with what we already have and also give them time to go and sort out 2021, 22, 22, 23 if they ever get documents, or unless you want to ask for a special audit. Those things are there. Otherwise, we will just continue here, and by 2015, we are required to be the house. Either say we do a special audit for those 2 financial years, or we live with the balances that we already have, and we discuss the 3 items that will also help them, because you've seen the chief officer is very competent. Then we move to Chair.
Senator Chesang, I think we'll get at you and then we'll make
Chair, I think I'll also request that maybe you invite the EACC, and also I request for a special audit for this account. And we cannot, because I'm just thinking that maybe some of the members here, maybe 1 or 2 members who are actually signatories in these accounts before. So I don't understand how we can say we cannot find opening balances for those accounts. So I think we should request for a special audit, and also invite an organs to do this special audit.
I think with the aspect of special audit, we have engaged ONG previously. Maybe I would like to hear what Mark you have to say from your perspective.
Thank you very much. Indeed, you have requested the Auditor General to conduct special audits whenever you, as a committee, what it best to handle it. On this one, Chair, the challenge is the issue of previously spare financial statements for the previous years. Therefore, we could not establish the opening balances. My submission, Chair, on behalf of the office, is that once if these are able to be provided, the 2021, 22, 22, 23, and then we compare that to the, and then we can restate the figures, and you can look at this as a prior year audit in 24, 25. That then can be the basis of a request for special audit, because what we find in 24, 25 then will be based on opening balances that have been verified and established by the audit teams on the ground. That will be my submission. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments based on what the auditor said? Yeah, maybe before we come to conclude on that, there was a substantive issue raised of non-submission of financial statement, which has put us in this problem. I think it's illegal, it's an offense not to submit financial statements. So I would like the legal officer to read out the provision on non-submission of financial statements. What is the implication of the people involved?
Thank you, Chair. The relevant section is section 62 of the Public Audit Act, and read subsection 1, paragraphs B and C, which read that a person shall not, without justification, fail to provide information required under this Act. C, without justification, fail to provide information within reasonable time that is required under this Act. And then the penalties under subsection 2, where a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense that is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or both. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I think you have heard that if you don't submit financial statements, I know 2021, 2022, Governor, you are in the Rift Valley,
and that was lost. 2023, you were elected. So I think, honorable members, we need to take this seriously, because if financial statements are not provided, then it means there is no accountability at all. So, Governor, I want to direct that you give us the details of the accounting staff who worked during this period, 2021, 2022. So we need to know who they are. This is the chief officer, CEC, and the accountant who was directly, I don't know whether it was you. Were you there then?
No, I came in 2023.
Okay, so we need to know who was there in 2021, 2022, the CEC, the chief officer, and the main accountant, who was supposed to submit the financial statements. I think we need a statement on that matter, because this is where the problem started. So, Governor, maybe how much time do you need to submit that information to us?
Tomorrow. Or even this afternoon. They just 3 packets and
yeah, so you can indicate their ISPAC numbers, if they are members of ISPAC, and their full details. So the committee will retreat and make a decision on what to do with this week. Based on what is today. The legal officer, you said, what are the penalties?
The penalties, through Chair, are that is a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings, imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years, or both.
Yeah. So, honorable members, I want us to proceed with the issues that we identified, and then we'll come back with the decision on the special after looking at those issues. So, Auditor, please take us through query number 4, which is undisclosed revenue from exchange transactions.
Thank you, Chair. The statement of financial performance reflects revenue from exchange transactions from lending of services, that is medical service income, amounting to Kenya shillings 157,130,036, as disclosed in Note 2A to the financial statement. However, review of records revealed that the hospital had a private wing called Mount Kenya Elgon Hospital, whose revenue totaling Kenya shillings 8,432,601 from medical services and National Health Insurance Fund was not included in the revenue from exchange transactions. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of revenue from exchange transactions will not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
Our management hospital, the chairman, the Mount Elgon Hospital is not a private wing of Kitale County Hospital and operates independently and level 3B hospital under master facility list code 152.9. The revenue of Kenya shillings 8,432,601 is accounted for under Mount Elgon Hospital. And we have attached the evidence as Annex 4 with the 261.
Auditor, your comments on the response?
Chair, through review of documents provided to the auditor as response to this issue, we were able to confirm that Mount Elgon Hospital is an independent hospital, it's a level 3 hospital. And therefore, this issue was addressed. Chair, the expenditure under Mount Elgon Hospital is included in the expenditure of the county executive. And therefore, it was audited under the Department of Health of the county.
So this amount of 157 million, is it the amount from the hospital pool account or it is from the executive account?
This is the money that was transferred to the Kitale County from the revenue account.
So this money came from the executive?
Yes.
Kitale Hospital?
Yes.
And then the 8 million from the same?
The 8 million, the auditors thought should also have been included in the revenue of 158, so that 157.
So the 8 million is from 157?
No, it is not included in the 157.
It is a direct transfer
to Mount Elgon now.
From the county?
Yes, but the auditor thought then that Mount Elgon is part of the Kitale.
So the issue here is the confusion of whether Mount Elgon is part of Kitale or is separate.
Yeah.
Okay, honorable members, your comments?
Look, there's no comment there. There was confusion from the auditor. The auditor thought Mount Elgon is a private wing of Kitale County Hospital, and there's no way. Not that I thought it was a private hospital, even upset, I was also confused. I thought that was a private hospital. Mount Elgon, most of the people from the counties and other region, they actually go there. We are very, those are the customers that majorly from the county. I've been thinking, or I've been thinking myself.
Initially it was somebody in Cambridge and he had a private hospital.
I hope it was not for the government.
It was somebody from the government.
Okay, any other query on that?
There's no query.
Okay, let's proceed to the query number 5, cash withdrawals from the revenue fund without approval from the board. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Review of the bank statements revealed that management withdrew cash amounting to Kenya shillings 120 million 142 103 from hospital's revenue account at a local bank without approvals from the board. In addition, review of the bank statement revealed that some transfers were made to an operation account in a local bank whose cashbook, bank statement, and bank certificates were not provided for audit. Further, the reconciled account balances were not disclosed in the financial statements. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of the transactions in cash and cash equivalents could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
Management response. The hospital revenue account is a pool account that receives revenue from all hospitals in the county and therefore attributing withdrawals of Kenya shillings 120 million, 142,103 is not accurate. The total value transacted through the hospital revenue account was Kenya shillings 218 million 887,868, of which Kenya shillings 120 million 142,103 was queried as cash withdrawals. Management accounts for these withdrawals as follows. AIs to facilities, 28,181,114. Bank transfers, 82,500,989. Cash withdrawals, 9,450,000. Total, 120,142,103. Management confirmed that the 9.4 million shillings was borrowed for the devolution conference of 2023 and has since been refunded in the current budget, while the Kenya shillings 82,500,989, the one for other bank transfers, can be accounted for as is in table 3. Annex approved budget for board minutes and IS. Annexures volume 3.
Back to the auditor.
Thank you, Chair. A review of the responses and supporting documents by the auditor revealed that only 9,450,000 Kenya shillings was cash withdrawals, which was not supported by any documents. And therefore, the issue was partially addressed. Thank you, Chair.
We are struggling, Governor, to get the annex. Someone guide us.
Which page? Volume 3 from?
You can tell us the page number.
You have appendix 1, this. So appendix 1, question 5.
So what is this? Maybe you can explain to us.
We are accounting for the money the 110 million. It's about the bank transfers, 82 million. The AIEs or for the AIEs total is what, 28 billion. Then the cash transfers.
So, honorable members, the floor is yours.
Of note, Chairman, that the account does not solely belong to KCH. It's a collection account for all the facilities, including KCH.
So the board minutes are on which page?
Volume 4. Volume 4.
Which page number?
So, Mr. Chairman, volume 3, the entire volume 3 is about minutes. Volume 3. volume 3. It's got the AIEs and the minutes.
Which page?
The entire volume is about minutes. Volume 3.
I thought you said it was the three is only.
The correct is volume 3. It's about AIEs, because the AIEs minutes from the board are working with the draws.
On volume 3.
Yes.
Okay, let me open the members.
Thank you, Chair. Governor, I would kindly ask you to refer the committee to the specific minutes which authorize the borrowing of the 9.4 million for the Revolution Conference.
That one is no, as the auditors correctly observed, there is no authority for that. And we said it was just a borrowing by departments to participate.
Governor, can you go on record?
Oh, sorry. As correctly stated by the auditor, it was internal borrowing by departments to enable them participate in the devolution conference. And the money has since been budgeted for to be returned to the hospital as far as financial aid, current financial aid.
So that was a borrowing.
So the borrowing.
But you know the law requires that such a borrowing must be refunded back within a year. It should be refunded back within 1 year after borrowing.
But in the requirement, it was a borrowing, isn't there supposed to be documentation supporting the borrowing?
Senator Chisan?
I just wanted to ask the same question that the Commission asked. That I thought the board seeks to approve this kind of transaction, be it transfers or withdrawals. So even if it's internal borrowing, how can just someone makes up and they just do their normal borrowing without approval of the board? Yes. And the law allows that.
So maybe the manager can respond to that, and the chief officer health and hospital superintendent, he should also be in a position to assist the government in this matter.
Maybe Chairman, just to go on record, just wanted to inquire who are the signatories of this account.
Who are
the signatories of this account?
Just wondering, has it gone through the county assembly? Because section 142 requires that it has to be approved by the county assembly.
The internal borrowing. Maybe to go systematically, Mr. Chairman, there was a communication between the Chief Officer of Finance and the Chief Officer for Health Services regarding this borrowing. And of course, the money was desegregated between the participating departments. And each department was supposed to refund the money from their budgets after the division conference. This hasn't happened. That's why it's an audit query. And that's why we are saying that with this kind of budget, the board can ensure that that money is refunded to the hospital for the Department of Health. And therefore required the approval of the board. We are saying that this vote is a collection account for all the health facilities. So therefore the KCH role has got no role in approving this withdrawal. They only deal with withdrawals from the account specifically for Kitale County Hospital. And at that time when we had a devolution conference, of course we had no exchequer releases. They came and finished till September, around September, so we didn't have any money from anywhere. That was the only money that we borrowed to ensure that we participated in the devolution conference.
Chair, then we have the other comment of the auditor about this, and also here what the law says about such a borrowing.
Chair, I think here what we need is the evidence to show the agreement and also the approvals for such withdrawals.
And Chair, that is exactly what we are asking. Then can we also hear the law, what the law says about such a borrowing, that internal borrowing, the process of it?
Okay, through chairs, as we rightly observed by senators, on borrowing by county government entities, it is provided for under section 142 of the PFM that provides that the county assembly may authorize short-term borrowing by county government entities for cash management purposes only. And then subsection 2, any borrowing under subsection 1 may not exceed 5% of the most recent audited revenues of the entity. And subsection 3, a county government entity that has any such borrowing shall ensure that the money borrowed is repaid within a year from the date on which it was borrowed. Thank you, Chair.
So, Chair, through you, Chair, do we have any documents to show that this money, this process was followed properly through the county assembly, the board, and refunded within the timeline given by the law?
Point of clarification, is this borrowing external or internal?
It talks about borrowing, does not specify whether internal or external.
So the county government is borrowing from itself?
Yes, yes.
So does that not apply?
As indicated under that section, it applies to which. Unless there is an exception under section 145 where it allows a county government to lend money in accordance with the act, that is PFM or any county legislation it exists on borrowing or lending money by the county government. Chair.
Yeah, I was asking, I was waiting for the response of my questions, Chair.
We have my contact on it. Maybe you can explain.
And Governor, don't labor so much to answer these questions. Let your people whom you have given that responsibility answer these questions.
County attorney, where? Yeah. Okay. Please respond to that. You can be given the mic, the secretary.
Maybe before I contribute, let the CEO of Finance say something.
Thank you, Chair. I think the question from the Honorable Member for Zit Machakos was about whether the county assembly was involved. As His Excellency the Governor has observed, it was an internal borrowing, but that notwithstanding, Honorable Senator, we have a debt management strategy paper that is passed by that then also regulates the way the county engages in borrowing documentation, that each and every documentation that maybe will be out of this process we will require to have. Then we can do it at once.
7 days, because the things we have requested are not, like we requested for the names, the governor said that they can provide. We are giving you 7 days.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
So, Governor, please respond to Senator Mzama. Sorry, I walked out briefly for...
No, Mr. Chairman, all I wanted to say is that we have admitted to borrowing, because we do not have any budget for the devolution conference. I don't think if it's allowed. I don't even think the control budget on that is allowed, because we always have issues in these conferences and in a subscription procedure. That was the first question. But we were supposed to participate, and that's why we borrowed. And we are admitting that borrowed this money that's supposed to be. And the communication between the Chief Officer for Health and the Chief Officer for Finance has been very clear that all the departments that were facilitated should be able to refund this money in subsequent budgets. And this was in 2024. The subsequent budget, I think, is the current one. So really, we have not really had to delay so much. So it was in August of 2024. So the year is not over, and I'm sure we're going to have it funded within the year as stipulated by law.
So on that particular borrowing of 9.4 million, I think the law says very clearly, the PFM, that such borrowing must get approval of the immediate board and the county assembly. You know, they say the law is an us, so we just follow what the law says. So, and that it should be repaid within 1 year. So, therefore, since 1 year has not elapsed, I am directing that money be refunded before the end of the 1 year. Yeah. So before the end of 1 year, that money has to be refunded, and then we communicate to this committee through the auditor, confirming that the refund has taken place within that period, and then the remaining period before the end of the year. Senator Chesang, do you have any more question on this?
No, Chair, I asked about the scenarios of the saving accounts.
Yes, saving accounts.
And not just that one, Chair. Just before I forget, does it mean that these borrowings, because we have a board for this hospital, so what is the work of the board if these approvals can be met maybe just through internally without involving the board? Then, Chair, not just you know these transfers that we are talking about, the transfers and the withdrawals were made to different accounts, Chair. So maybe if you can get signatories for both accounts in different local banks. Several of these accounts, there are a number of accounts that transfers were made.
Chair, they actually said that the CEO was to talk and then he comments. He's the one who should be given, Chair, all the questions that you are asking, Governor. And you guys are just...
Senator, just a moment. I want us to proceed systematically. Let us exhaust the matter of Senator Chesang on signatories, and then we come back to the attorney to respond to this. But taking into account I've already ruled that the money be refunded. So, Governor, respond to the matter of the signatories.
So, can I be specific about the account?
Let him respond first to the
so that
signatory.
you can respond to all the accounts that I'm requesting for the signatories.
Okay. Well, what do you have?
There is the county government of Natembeya Hospital Revenue and KCB. To be specific, account number 115-8028-296. There is also county government of Natembeya operational account KCB, account number 115-8028-113. Then there is a Kitale County Referral Hospital operation. That is account number 011-001 finally, there is a social scheme. That's the account number 661. Ecobank. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, point of order, Chair.
Yeah, what's your point of order?
What's the standard procedure? Because I thought the senator for the Sandy County, when he appears as a member, as a friend of this committee, I think the documents should also be tabled before the committee procedure, whatever accounts he's talking about.
What? Let me consult.
Mr. Chairman.
Let me just deal with this matter. The clerk, what the senator has asked, what is the standard procedure? Because the senator of Banzaya, being the senator of the area, has a better understanding of his county than all of us. But then we need to align that to the standard procedure. So the clerk, you can tell us the standard procedure, which will allow the senator to provide what he has.
Thank you, Chair. The information that the senator is providing is information that we say is secondary to the issues that are being discussed in the audit report. And it's information that the office of the clerk is not privy to. So we would request that after the procedure is that the information is submitted to the office of the clerk, and it will be received by the committee and it will be treated as now part of the documents that are supporting the queries that have been raised by Dr. General. Thank you.
Well, I will give the directive that since, that's why we allow senators of the respective counties to sit in our meetings.
Mr. Chair, maybe before you give that directive, just 1 second. Audit number 6. That's all that information is. Audit point number 6. Look at our response that listed all those accounts.
I don't see any signatories for this account. I'm not seeing any signatories here.
You can give the signatories now and subsequent questions, supplementary questions. You can provide now.
Okay. So these are the accounts that you have?
Yes.
Ecobank, Cooperative Bank?
SBL?
Yeah. So maybe you can give us a signatories to those accounts.
The chief officer can give us. Chief officer.
Thank you, Chair, and honorable members. Thank you. The first account, that is KCB operation account number 1158-022-113. The signatory is the county chief officer and the departmental accountant. For the account, the next account, KCB revenue account number 1158-028-296. The signatories are the chief officer and the departmental accountant. For the third account, name Ecobank, account number 66-104128, The signatories are the medical superintendent for the hospital and the hospital administrator. The fourth account, SDM account number 40238079,701. The signatories are the county chief officer and the revenue accountant or revenue officer. The other account, name KCRH at Cooperative Bank, account number 011001208,701. The signatories are the medical superintendent and the health administrator. Thank you.
Social scheme at EcoBank.
The social scheme at EcoBank, account number 66, it is repeated, Chair. The signatories are the medical superintendent and the health administrator. Thank you. The NHIF bank at SBM, it's again repeated from the previous page. The signatories are the county chief officer and the revenue accountant. Thank you. Yeah.
So, Senator Chesang, has that covered all the accounts you are raising?
Yes, Chair. So maybe this lastly, because of we don't have any certified bank statements. Maybe as they come, the 7 days of given to submit other documents, they cannot submit certified bank statements for this account. Thank you.
I think the bank statements are part of the document for auditors. Already. And they should be available. When I have you audit without the bank statements.
Auditor?
Chair, the bank statements are now available. They have been available. You have read and they have been reviewed.
You have looked at them?
Yes.
Okay, so I think you can avail the document to the clerk. The clerk is get the statements from the audit for our consideration.
Mr. Chairman, we are still doing a bit of revision for volume 1. There was an error being printed because all the bank statements are in that volume 1. We'll have it tabled.
Volume 1,
all the bank statements are in volume 1.
For which financial year?
we don't have the volume 1. I'm told that you had some errors.
The printers mixed up the documents, so they're repeating the volume 1.
Okay.
Yeah, but all the statements are in volume 1. I want to go on record. So all the bank statements are in volume 1 of our next test.
Okay. So it can be provided before the brief?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
For which financial year, Chair? Just to be specific.
The year under audit.
For 2020, because we are doing 2023, 2024. I'm presuming it's for 2023. Auditor, what is financial year?
23-24.
23-24. Okay, it's for 23-24. You have any more information you can give us?
No, Chair, I was just asking, as the chief officer for finance was saying here, the most importantly, I was requesting for 2021-22.
21-22.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought.
Yes, 2021, 22. Now we have for 2024. But what about for 2021, 2022,
22?
23? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we commit if they are not here, we provide. The bank statements, you can't hide the bank. Just get them from the bank.
That's
so we provide them within the 7 days you guided.
So, honorable members, and if there is no any further issue with this matter, we are 5 minutes away from the chamber. So, I think the other, as we noted, that there were the issue of disclaimer, opinion.
Mr. Chairman, before you proceed, just for information, I'm sure members will be wondering how an entire county can have only one level 4 hospital.
Yes.
Because just KCL has been auditing. Before we came into office, all the level 4 hospitals had been upgraded to level 3 because they were not measuring up the services that were needed at that level. But from 2022, when we entered office, we can sure that now we have got 8, 9 level 4 hospitals. I believe the subsequent audit, all of them are going to be audited so that they start abiding by the law. And then you may not see cases in the records again for the subsequent years because all the services that are moving through. Kamala Kijana teaching at River Hospital, which again for the record is a level 4 hospital. We do not have a level 5 hospital. We simply moved the size from one level 4 facility which had been condemned because it was not good for human habitation and moved the services to the Kamala Kijana teaching at River Hospital. So the River Hospital is a level 4. That's it. Just for information. So next year we're talking about the Kamala Kijana, we're going to remind ACD and then we're going to have more facilities connected because they are several than that.
So honorable members, because of time, I think we're going to stop at that point. On the issue of disclaimer opinion, I have consulted the clerk and the auditors on it, and the position is that the 2024-2025 financial audit is about to begin. So I think the auditor will carry out that audit covering that period, taking into account that we have raised the matter of opening balances and the matter of closing balances for 2021-2022, and prepare an audit report for 2024-2025. Then we cover all the matters that we have raised because a special audit upgrade from the OAG, and Mark is here to confirm, because of the limited resources they have, they would want to provide it in the current audit, which is about to begin. After the county has submitted the financial statements for 2024-2025. So that will be covered within that period. And then this committee will have an opportunity to examine it as well. All I'm asking is that the relevant documents that needs to be provided, they should be provided to the auditor to examine every aspect that is included in the financial statements for 2024-2025. Secondly, the issue of the borrowings, we also expect that it should be covered in the 2024-2025 financial statement.
That means the refunds must have been paid by then. And we will verify that in the financial year 2024-2025. Then there is this problem of bookkeeping errors. We spend a lot of time on it, and we hope that in the 2024-2025 financial year there will be no repeat of that issue. We expect the accounts to align to the template, the standard template that is provided by Treasury, that's the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board template. There was also the matter of internal governance, the failure to establish internal audit committee. I think that one, it is a matter that the auditor is indicating that the county is making progress because they are utilizing the county audit unit. We expect that this matter will be fully resolved when you come back. There is the issue of lack of policy documents, which again is a governance issue. Again, we expect that that matter should be concluded in the next audit. There is the matter of course, the other matters are bookkeeping issues, which we spend a lot of time on it, should also be addressed. And again, the information that we have required from the governor should also be available, as I stated earlier, in 7 days. So, honorable members, unless there is any other issue, we have come to the end of this meeting. There will be no closing remarks because of time. I'll just declare the meeting adjourned until Thursday, 10 a.m.